Yeah, I just started helping with the store and gave up my other job. I was a daycare, daycare teacher.
Yeah?
Yeah, for a few years.
All not related.
Well, I mean,
beer and children.
Being
and
into primatology and working with toddlers and drunk guys is pretty much the most relevant thing I could have picked.
Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 69, Daniel, of the Beer and Other Shit podcast. And we are here, y'all. If you guys have been following anything that we do over the years, you'll know this man. The only thing, he had his hat backwards in the BrewHeads video, so Rich, we have to cut to that. Dan, owner of Brouhaha, mate, thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
Pleasure. So this is a long time coming.
Right.
We've known each other for we just realized that 3.5 years when we did
3.5 years
the video, and we hadn't got you on the podcast, which is disgusting. But
I agree.
I apologize.
I'm kind of mad.
You should be. You're
making it better now, but
we're making it out to you. So we're here in the Ahuntsic. What do you want to call it? Brew pub?
Yeah.
So normally we shot in the Rosemont, which is the original one. Mm-hmm. And this is your secondary location.
Right.
When did this one open?
Probably around 2 years and a half. It's been 2 years last May, so yeah.
Okay, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And we're sitting in like the we're just talking about like this, like the comedy room type of thing.
I guess so. This is where we actually rent this particular room for private groups, but this is where events are happening. I have a little stage set up behind here, so we have comedy nights and improv and music shows as well.
Fantastic.
Conferences and stuff like that. Yeah.
Sick, man.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a different area. We're just talking about sort of Ahuntsic is sort of a little bit north of Montreal. Well, it's on the island, of course.
Right.
So it's a what do you call it? It's not a suburb. It's like an area.
It's a neighborhood.
Neighborhood?
Yeah, I guess so. A district.
A district? where is it situated for the?
It's pretty far north. I mean, from the pub here, we can see the bridge and the river to Laval. So it's pretty much on the north border of Montreal.
Right. So it's a different neighborhood, and we were just also saying before that you are the only brew pub between. There's one in Laval, like a beer bar, and then the other one is
that's right.
That's far away.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're the only beer spot between Leto on Jarry and Saint-Denis, and probably the Balthazar in Laval. Yeah.
So that's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
Our craft beer in Ahuntsic.
That's right. I mean, there's a couple bottle shops, but as far as bar go,
this is the spot.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So you guys actually do brew your own beer, which is what we have in front of us, the first couple. Let's start with the Saison. You want to tell us about this bad boy?
Yeah, so this one is Arrakis. It's
sounds great.
We call it a Saison because it's got the same
like
kind of profile, but it's not a Saison yeast. I call it special, and it really is. You'll see once you try it, it's got a very feel that's pretty close to a lager.
Right.
Yeah. So this one is flavored with dune peppercorn or dune pepper. It's actually the fruit of the elder tree. So that brings a little fruitiness, a little peppercorn notes, but not so much.
You can kind of get them a little bit on the nose there.
Yeah. Kind of stings the nostrils a little bit.
I'm excited. Get in you.
Cheers.
Get in you, mate. Nice. I see what you mean. This does have that lager like dryness to it.
Right.
There's like a
crispiness.
Yeah, definitely crisp. Definitely like it's quite bitter, which I like. Generally, Saisons don't have a ton of bitterness.
No, it's got that little hint of acidity as well.
Yeah. There's like a fruity sweetness as well, and that's coming from the peppers.
I really have a hard time pinning what fruit it is. A little bit of lemon, maybe.
Definitely some citrus.
Yeah.
That's nice, man. Refreshing,
Thank
crisp.
You. Yeah, I like it a lot.
4.8?
4.8.
So nice and easy drinking.
Not that dangerous for a Bois beer.
No.
Yeah.
Starting nice and easy. So, let's start with you. How did you go from a bloke to owning two brew pubs? It's a big question, I know.
Yeah, I was actually studying primatology. I used to. It's the study of non-human primates.
Really?
So I used to work with monkeys. It's true. So I started getting contracts in primatology before I even started studying physical anthropology and specializing in primatology. Right. And while I was studying, I started working at a place called Les Délires du Terroir. It's on the Plaza Saint-Hubert in Rosemont-Petite-Patrie.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first Montreal bottle shops. I started working there because I was a really good customer of them, and I became friends with the two owners. They were a couple living on the second floor of that shop. So I started working there, and then I left and I really got into craft beer at that point. I was really curious about it. I tried so many different beers from that store, then started working there, starting knowing more about beer. And then I left for a contract for a year-long contract in the Amazon in Ecuador.
Damn.
And before coming back here, I got in touch with Marc Bélanger, who started the Brouhaha. Mm-hmm. I knew him because he was a customer of the bottle shop, and I just asked him if he would give me a chance to work at the pub. And I started working there just randomly, doing like home improvement stuff and like repairing, and then I started working in the kitchen as a cook. Then I was a busboy. Then I became a waiter.
Damn.
Then I accepted the manager position, but I had my conditions, and one of the condition was that they would sell me some shares. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't be more happy about it to have like a manager that's also a shareholder. So that's how I became a owner. And now I'm not a manager so much anymore because I try to like get off the floor a little bit. Yeah. I already work so much doing administrative stuff and events and promotion and.
You do the social, right?
Yeah.
How long has you been involved with them for? So now it's 2017. So you.
I started working for Brouhaha in 2010, May 2010, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so it's been a solid 7 years.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Were you always a craft beer guy?
I always had this curiosity and interest for different flavors and tasty beers, and like people made fun of me because I would like let beer warm up before drinking it, and that was kind of a new thing back then. Right. I was like, what is it? Why do you have to drink your beer so warm? I'm like, I don't know, it's just better that way, man. And that's I guess I've always been kind of a craft beer guy.
Right, so you were ahead of the game.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
I like to think so because it wasn't so big back then.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it kind of exploded when people noticed that something was happening, and then like people saw opportunities and wanted to know what the buzz was all about, and it just that's when it just exploded, I guess.
Right. Did you get into the bottle shop around that time, or were you a little bit before? That was
a little bit before. No, I guess I was already working at the bottle shop. Yeah.
Around the time.
And I mean, I worked there for less than a year, but even through that year, that was 2007, 2008, probably.
Okay.
And I mean, just during those few months, I saw more and more people getting into craft beer. Right. So I never saw what happened coming. I never saw it coming.
Right, because you were kind of just in your own bubble, just drinking.
Right.
Just a drinker.
And then I left for a year, came back, and it already had evolved so much.
Right.
I mean, and it keeps evolving. It's crazy. Yeah. I think in the past year, there's probably close to 30 new breweries that opened in Quebec.
Only, right?
Yeah.
That's insane.
What we call the craft beer revolution happened in the States like a few decades before it happened here. So if you want to have an idea of what's coming in the industry, just look south.
Right?
Yeah. Huge consortium of breweries like Molson Coors and Labatt buying smaller breweries. I mean, we all saw it coming. We knew it was coming, and it happened. I mean, with Trou du Diable recently, I know you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring it up so early, but let's do it.
I mean,
let's do it. Let's get it.
I didn't do it on purpose.
No, I know. It was natural. Yes.
But that's the kind of stuff that that's been happening in the States for years and years now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I mean,
I think Goose
think
Island got
of
whatever,
Goose Island and not I was going to say Trillium, but not Trillium, but
Wicked Weed.
Wicked Weed.
That was this year. That was like the life-shattering one.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one I would compare to Trou du Diable because
the beloved.
Right. They were. I mean, Trou du Diable. First of all, I mean, I have nothing against the guys. I have nothing against their product. They brew amazing beers.
Right.
But it did come as a shock to me and to the whole movement because they were so involved
in the
community, in making sure it was the brewers were united, and they would throw events like the Soirée des Brasseurs.
I heard about that. Yeah, like the Saturday.
It's a little festival, but it started off to be a brewers party the night before, and like they decided, hey, we're all here. Why don't we take this opportunity and just throw a little one-day festival on the side? So it did come as a surprise because I'm gonna use the word integrity. Mm-hmm. We used to think they had a lot of integrity, but then again, I mean, I'm putting myself in their shoes and look at all these millions because I mean the numbers that came out are in the range of $45 million. I mean, you put that on the table. Who wouldn't sell his soul for that? I mean, everybody has a price, and it couldn't be more true in that case. Yeah. I mean, I think about my friend Isaac Tremblay, who's like who was the president of Trou du Diable, who still is, and he was vice president of the Craft Brewers Association, the AMBQ. So he was out there fighting for our rights and for our market shares and against Molson particularly. Right. So I mean, fine. You want to sell. That's one thing, but you can always choose who you're going to sell to, and that's part of what is making a lot of people uncomfortable.
I agree. That's, I think, the entire issue is that it's okay to sell because you're a businessman. Like I am too, and I understand the power of money. And that if someone waves a check in your face, then you're going to have a price. But why does it have to be that devil you sold to?
Exactly.
Like no one's as mad at say Lagunitas for selling to Heineken because they're not really doing what Molson or AB are doing. Or like people are mad at Ballast Point for selling to Constellation brands.
Right.
I have to give American examples because there's hardly any Canadian ones because they all sold to Molson or AB. But like Founders sold 30% or 35% to Mahu in Spain. They're not trying to crush craft beer. Right. So who gives a fuck? Like they're taking off the craft beer thing and they're mad about that.
And I mean, we're talking about huge companies who are literally investing money into programs to
make life difficult, isn't it?
Exactly for craft beers. So I mean,
the shelf space.
I hate saying that, but right now the reality is that when you buy a Trou du Diable product, you're financing initiatives that go against what we're doing. So I mean, it's a no-brainer for me not to sell Trou du Diable anymore at the Broue, and I'm gonna be happy to drink Trou du Diable when I'm in a bar or Molson Center, Bell Centers. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, is it Molson? It's Molson Center. I'm sorry.
Well,
it's Bell Center. It's owned by the Molson family. Wow.
Oh, there you go.
So
it's all the same shit.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Exactly. But I mean, I'm gonna be so happy that Trou du Diable is there because there's no other option. There's no way around it. You have to drink Molson Coors product while you're there. So might as well be
a good beer.
Good old
praying that they stay good. I get it from a business person. I think it's because craft beer is art, and therefore feelings are involved in it. If it was just business, no one gets mad if like Facebook buys your startup or whatever, because that's the goal. Like exiting is not a bad thing in that world. But you put it in beer context, and all of a sudden, like you know, it's a different
also,
game.
we the game is changing because the industry has evolved, and when I started in the business 10 years ago, I mean, we were all this one big loving family, but the family the family expanded so much that we're going to be losing that little closeness in between us, bit by bit for sure. And I'm really happy to be in that industry at that time. But I'm not naive. I think it's going to change. I think it's going to become more and more competitive, and that competition is gonna tore friendships apart, and that sense of family in the industry.
That kind of sucks.
And now I mean, there's so many new breweries. I don't know everybody anymore.
Right.
Sometimes I go to events and everybody talks to one another, and I'm like, where are my people? Where are they? Who are they? But they're the next generation growing up, and I'm not saying that age-wise, but like the new breweries, new people, even the older breweries, they don't go to festivals anymore themselves, the brewers, but their brewery is there, and they just send new blood to just represent.
So you guys brew out of Ma Brasserie, right?
Right. Ma Brasserie was actually a Brouhaha initiative.
Yes.
We sent Marc Bélanger, who's one of my partners, and he's the brewer for Brouhaha. So we sent him to go and to open a brewery for Brouhaha, and he came back with this plan, this beast, which is Ma Brasserie.
Right.
And I mean, we decided to go along with him, and so Brouhaha became the original member of the cooperative.
Right.
Yeah.
So, can you explain what the cooperative is, like how it works? So it's kind of like a contract brewery, or is it co-owned by?
It's co-owned. It's really a workers' cooperative.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that made things a little bit complicated for financial reasons, because people like banks and stuff like that, and investors, they're really cold about the concept of workers' cooperative. But I think we're up to 6 or 7 members now.
Okay.
Brewers.
Right.
Because there's also owners that like work for Ma Brasserie, or who only bought little. They're not called shares. I mean, but
are they people who just rent out the fermenters?
But it's not rented out. You have to bring in your own fermenters. You have to.
Really?
So I have my own fermenters at Ma Brasserie. Ile-de-Garde have their own. But we use the brew house itself for all the breweries. So we share equipment, but we have equipment of our own also.
Interesting. Is this a unique concept to Ma Brasserie, or is it like this has been done before? Because I never heard of something that works like that.
You know what? I have no idea.
I've always had a question. I've asked a bunch of people and can never get a straight answer about it. So when I go to Toronto, I go to a brew pub. They have a fridge there, and I can take a bottle and can to go afterwards. Like, it's sort of a separate thing, but it's within the same premises. Mm-hmm. I come here and that doesn't exist anywhere, and I haven't been to Ma Brasserie yet, but everyone tells me that's the only place that has that. Is that correct?
There's other places. If you go to Trou du Diable in Saint-Jérôme, you can eat lunch and have a few beers at the pub, and then you walk out walk just out in the parking lot. It has to be a different address.
That's what it is. Okay, so that's the facts. I had heard that before, but I wanted to confirm with someone who knows for sure. So is that why you can't sell anything
from the bar to go? Yeah,
that's probably why I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's brewed on location,
premises, which Ma Brasserie is.
Exactly. So you can buy
purchase all the products.
You can buy growlers and fill them up from the tap.
Sick.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this one.
Yeah, sure. Great. This is Coup Soleil. It really is a summery beer.
As we look at the snow.
It's very fruity. It's a Belgian wheat kind of recipe without the spices, I'd say, and it's got wild yeast in it, Brettanomyces, and can I say shit?
You can.
A shitload of cranberries and raspberries. Right.
So you can say what you like. Cranberries, raspberries, hence this beautiful color.
Oh yeah. Cheers.
All right. Cheers, Dan. Rich. Cheers, mate. Woof. Well, that's great. There's like that cranberry tang in there.
Oh yeah. That's that tartness of the cranberry.
Raspberry, that sweetness there.
Nice balance.
Still like it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's great, dude.
I know. Like And you know how people call some beers girly beers?
I'll drink this girly beer all day.
Exactly what I was going to say. You wouldn't believe the amount of guys that are sometimes embarrassed to like be drinking their...
Can I get the red one? That's pretty funny. People still like that, eh?
Yeah, and then again, it is what kind of... I hate saying that, but stick to what the stereotype of what a girl beer is. I don't believe in that.
No, absolutely not.
The fact that the idea that there are girl beers. Just want to make that clear, but it's very accessible.
Yeah,
like
fantastic.
People that don't like beer, people that do like beer, people that don't like funkiness in beer, they will enjoy this.
Oh yeah, it's got that little bit of funk. I forgot you mentioned it's got Brett.
Yeah,
and it's almost like subtly tart as well. I guess
it's very delicate.
From that, yeah, man, this is a great mix. Yeah, I hate that girl, man. There's so many women who know way more about beer than all of us. Like, I hate that. I feel like that's going as well because that's like an old mentality.
It is, but then again, you still see it here and there. I think this summer the Quebec Beer Festival spokesperson said something like that. Hey, we bring your girlfriend. We have girly beers too, and like stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you
just ruined it.
Yeah, you're just working against the grain here. That's we're trying to destroy that, and like it's never. I'm very proud to be a part of this industry, also because of that mentality, that openness of mind, and we're really trying to keep away from those marketing involving pin-up girls and sexuality and all that. You don't see that so much in Quebec, and I'm very proud of that. And maybe I'm revealing a scoop, but on Papineau, almost corner of Rosemont, there used to be some sort of a beer garden there called Das Beer.
Okay.
And they closed something like a month and a half ago, and it just got bought by À l'Affût in Saint-Tite.
Ooh, nice.
So they're gonna have a pub in Rosemont, Paris. They're 400 meters away from Brouhaha.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're not even worried. We're like, great, that's going to attract even more beer tourists, more beer enthusiasts.
They'll hit them all.
Yeah.
They'll go to Ma Brasserie for a few, they'll come to Brewhaha,
exactly. Every time there's been a new beer bar opening nearby, we always went, oh my God, is that going to have a negative impact on our business? And we never really felt it. Right. We used to be one of the only beer bars in Rosemont Patrie, apart from Vice Versa, if I'm not mistaken. And now there's like probably 10 more around us, and we're still going 10 years later. We're still packed almost every night. So I mean, it's still growing. We're still not stepping on each other's toes.
Right.
But I think it would be naive to think that's never going to happen. At some point, we're going to hit a point where
you might be like, all right, guys, that's enough.
It's saturated. You know, there's enough offer for what the demand is, and now we're going to enter a more competitive, dynamic era, I guess. But
right now, it's still in that boom phase.
There's nothing else we can do than keep doing the good things we've been doing for the past 10 years that made us what we are, and keep doing it.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's sick, man. Well, I think what you're doing is fantastic, and it's dope that you've got these 2 venues now, and the Ma Brasserie, and you've got stuff in the stores. Like, people are going to be able to find what you're doing. Where can they find you online?
Online, we have a website, www.brewhaha.com.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page for both pubs, so one for Rosemont, one for Ahuntsic. We're really, really active on Facebook. If you want to know what's happening at the Brouhaha pubs, just
Facebook's
follow our pages, and then we're active on there every single day.
Fantastic.
And the tap menu is online on the website, and it's updated once or twice a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez. Once or twice a day?
Yeah,
That's
because
insane.
the beer
taps
here,
out,
they
right?
change all the time.
That's quite rare. And that's fantastic, man. Man, look, thank you again for having us.
You're
This
very
is fantastic.
welcome. Thanks.
Extremely overdue chat, but I'm glad we got to do it.
Absolutely.
So, guys, if you enjoyed the episode, chuck us a thumbs up. Hit subscribe on YouTube, which I believe is just below Daniel's nipple there. If you just look there, right there. And follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast. And, of course, if you enjoyed these long-form audio, hit us on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else you get your talking media. That's it, guys. Cheers.